Hello everybody, how's it going? Superfiend here, and welcome back to Planet Coaster Wacky World. So we have pretty much finished all I want to do over here, at least in terms of screen time on this ride. I might make a few more little minor changes and adjustments off camera. But for right now, what I really want to focus on this episode is I want to focus on finishing this area out here of the, what's this one called again? The Lost Gardens attraction. I want to get this done, because once we know how this terrain and setting is going to look like, then it'll make it easier to come in and fill in this area over here. And I also have a really neat idea. I think I'm going to terraform kind of like hills that kind of meet up to about here along each side, and then we'll build at some point a couple of guard towers with a little bridge that goes across, and that's going to be the entrance to our pirate Lost Civilization land. And I don't know exactly when we're going to get to that, but that's the basic idea for what I want to do over there. But this episode is going to be focusing on this area. And again, before we get into it, let's just go ahead and keep our research going. We got a Manic Mouse. This was a new coaster added with the spring up. Oh, look at that. We're done. We're finally done. Yeah, the Manic coaster was part of the summer update. I was going to say spring update, but it's summer. Okay, so great. We don't have to do any more research. I'm happy about that. Oh, and then I did notice off camera that one of our attractions is too expensive, and it was Twisty Turny, and that's because it's now considered old. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and we're going to rebrand it really quick. And that's going to turn it back to established, and that will make the guests willing to pay the entrance fee to go onto it. Right now, look at this. The queue is empty. Boy, it was way too expensive. And so it's running right now with empty cars. Just want to see if some people go back on it now that it's been rebranded. Or if they still think it's too expensive. That's really... Okay, so there they go. They're going back on. So we fixed that, and the rest of these rides, Twisty Turny always hits the old and aging a little bit sooner than some of these other ones, so we'll have to come back in another episode or so and fix those. So now let's turn our attention over here, and we're going to raise up the terrain. And the idea I have here is that the terrain's going to kind of come up to just under this coaster track, kind of the way it does on the Hidden Temple ride, except there's not going to be a mountain over the top of it. It's going to be an open air thing, and we'll put some of the tropical foliage on top of it, and maybe like a little bit of a mountain peak. So as you're kind of walking in here, you know, you can kind of see what's going on here, and the kids and stuff that are on this thing can look out and see all the people coming in. And so let's go ahead and do that. I think we want about a 6 meter, no, maybe an 8 meter brush, and let's just see how quickly this raises the terrain. And I think I have the collision turned on, so yeah. So it's not going to collide or go through the track. And we'll just kind of build up around here. And let's switch it to the flatten to foundation. And we'll pick this area here and just flatten it out. And then we'll fix it in terms of what's going on down here on the floor in just a moment. And I'd like to get it a little bit closer. So I'm going to go in and turn off. Is it in game? We're going to turn off the terrain collision, and that's going to allow us to raise it up just a little bit higher. Because I want to get this thing like right on the ground. Okay, but that was too high. So let's see. Okay, so right about there is what we're going to do. All right. And then we need to fix it. And so we're going to turn the intensity down by quite a bit. Just right in here. And let's see. Chisel might be a better option for this, but... Okay, there we go. So we just got the support back in there. And we want to push it down just a little bit in here. Okay, I'll accept that. I'm happy with that. And let's just push away in here just a little bit. Smooth this out. Let's actually get the smoothing tool. Okay, so that looks kind of neat. And we'll smooth over here a little bit. We'll probably have to come back in and make adjustments off and on as we work through this. Excuse me, sorry about that. And let's see. I think I kind of want this to all be enclosed in terrain. It's going to be kind of hard to do it because the tracks are all so close together. And the terrain tool's not going to want to play nicely with it. Oops, that was completely wrong. Wanted to pull it up. So let's just start lifting it up here and kind of just see what we end up with, right? Now that's interesting though. It's the coaster station is still using its collision, which is fine. Okay. Now, maybe right here, maybe it can go through a tunnel, because we do have to connect it up to this stuff. We'll just kind of bury the whole thing right now, and then go back in and fix it little by little, maybe. Just kind of want to see, you know, if we do this, what's it going to end up looking like? And again, I said that I think I'm going to carry this terrain terraforming kind of up to, oh, maybe about here, or maybe all the way to here, actually. Kind of hard to say. Do we want, well, maybe here is kind of the better place to stop it. That way the monorail station kind of, or the monorail track goes this way. And as people go under the monorail track, then they get a nice view of the entrance to our little pirate area. So let's just lift the terrain up right here. Just to get an idea of, you know, how... I don't want it to be too tall. So maybe about like this would work. And we're going to have to take this away. This path. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let's just remove all this. Don't need it anymore. Okay. And right back to it. So actually, let's get the intensity up a little bit higher. Here we go. This is better. And I think I would want it kind of like gradually sloping down here into the little guard towers that I'm thinking about building. But, you know, that's roughly what I had in mind. Pretty close to it. And now let's go ahead and, let's see, we want to push it back just a little bit here. Get our scenery back. All right. It's pretty good. Okay. And I think I'm okay with this little overhang like this. I think that looks kind of neat actually. And let's go ahead and grab the roughen tool. And let's see. How much is this going to roughen it up? Okay, that's actually pretty good. Okay. I rather like the way that's looking. I think that's kind of neat. And so now, going back over to this stuff, what exactly do we want to do in here with this? Now, the coaster building, I think might end up resembling a little bit, kind of like the Hidden Temple coaster station. I think we might replicate that theme over here somewhat. And if we go to this and we do place entrance, and the exit is on this side too, because that's where the little track operation kiosk is, whatever that's called. And so the entrance and the exit are going to be over here. Now I'm thinking that the exit will be more over here and just kind of come off and be a straight shot back to the path. And the entrance queue might actually start further down here and come up this way and kind of like wind across this, or at least just move along next to it and then go across this here. I think that would be kind of cool for the entrance to do that. And then as far as this, all of this right here, I kind of want the ascent to be open air, and I kind of want at least part of the drop here, the little hill, to be open, but then I kind of want it to go through a tunnel as well. And let's just let's fly in here really quick and just see what it looks like down in here. And let's deselect the coaster track. And we can't really build any terrain or anything right here because it's all too close together. So it's going to have to be like this. And so I kind of want the ascent to be open. So let's just carve away the terrain in here a little bit and open it back up. So we're going to push. Going to want a much smaller brush. And I'm just going to kind of push along where the track is and push our way up this hill. Okay. And so as I'm doing this, I'm starting at the top and pushing it down towards the track. And then going in and make minor adjustments along here, underneath the track. Okay, so that got everything nice and open. And the supports and everything look okay. And before I go and do anything else, I want to just come through here with the roughen tool and just see like what it does. Okay, so it's closing it up in some areas. Okay, and then I think we need to push this back just a little bit. And we want the floor to be visible here. And over here as well. And let's just fly in here and make sure that we didn't like really goof up our scenery inside. Okay, we did a little bit. So let's just push it out of this room. Can't see anything else in there, and we'll just push it out over here a little bit. Okay. And then let's take a look from up top and see that it all still looks pretty good. Okay, and then let's just open this up, right? Let's just push it up a little bit higher and kind of get the Now, what if we kind of just push straight through here like this and create a couple little openings like this? And okay, I don't know what exactly is on the other side here, but what if we just push out? How far do we have to go? All right, we got to go a lot farther than I really wanted to. So let's bring it back. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so I'm pretty happy with all of this, and I think this, this actually looks really cool as you're coming up through here. And if we decrease the brush size, can we make like a much smaller little hole, like one more right here? I think we can. And let's see. Let's push our way out through here and see what happens. There we go. Can't really see that from inside going up, but from, let's see, let's get the camera up. So there we go. We end up with something that looks a little bit like that. And I think that looks pretty cool when you're down in here and coming up. Okay. And then now over here on this one, I kind of want a tunnel. I want this to be a tunnel, so let's change it back to, I think 6 is what it was. And as we do this, it's going to push away the terrain that's over here. So I think what we're going to end up with is the rock on one side and maybe the coaster station a little bit on the other, at least down at this part here. And it got all opened up. Well, let's just see what we end up with, right? There we go. And so how does that look? That actually looks, kind of neat. I'm going to push this down. And I want to flatten, let's see, okay. I want it to be flat up top here at about, I don't know, maybe right here. So we'll just flatten it out just a little bit. Okay. And so how does this all look? I think this looks pretty good. And so we can put like a little bit of greenery and foliage in here as they go down, and a little bit up here. And I kind of want to build a little bit of a cliff rock structure, and I think we're going to put that over here. We're going to be pulling up, not pushing down. So we'll just kind of lift this up. And then we'll go a little bit smaller and just lift, 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 lift. And then we'll get the roughen tool out, and let's see. I think that looks okay. And then now we got to go back. We got to get our flatten the foundation tool again. And about here. And we'll just flatten it out and get it off the track. And I don't like this little nub poking out right here, so let's just get rid of that. And I think we'll keep that just the way it is. And let's go ahead, since I've got these different rock textures here, let's go ahead and paint it. Okay, and see, suddenly with the painting, it looks, really good. And let's just get through in here. And we'll paint it up to about here, because I don't know exactly what the rest of it's going to look like on the other side. And then let's go inside here, and let's paint this area up, right? A little bit rocky inside. And we'll come in here. Oh, I think we need to push this down a little bit. Just right here, just a tiny bit. Push that away, okay. Go back to our paintbrush. And increase the intensity. And when you paint with these terrain paintbrushes and change the texture appearance, it really helps to sell the effect. Because when you do the basic terraforming, you end up with these little patches of grass and stuff. And this gets rid of them and just makes the whole thing look a lot better. Really, a lot more convincing, I think. So. And inside here, I guess we could go full 100% with the rocky terrain effect. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to pick one of the other rock formation ones and drop the opacity down to about, like 20 or 10, and then go with a really big brush and just kind of like swoop it down. Now that was way too much. Okay, so maybe like 10%. And that blends the two together ever so slightly. And helps to give the rocks just a tiny bit of variation. Okay. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to repeat that on the outside. And when I'm doing rocks and cliffs, I find it easier to paint the majority of it as rock and then go back in and add little areas of greenery where I think it would be green. So I'll show you an example of that right now. So if we go in and we paint this all rock, right? And so we're just going to actually we'll do 100%. So this is all going to look very much like rock on the outside. Okay, and we'll just kind of blast it up here a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take the other one and do what I said before, a rather large brush. But a very low intensity, very low effect, and just like very quickly go over certain areas. And then anywhere where you want to pronounce the effect a little bit more, just increase the intensity and lower the brush size. Okay. And that helps to get some variation in the final result. Okay, and then after you do all that, pick some areas where, vegetation might have taken hold, and then you just go back in. And so now we want to do kind of a much higher intensity and not too big of a brush. Okay, so like this area right here would be an area that a lot of vegetation has taken place, right? And if we want to have that vegetation spread a little bit across the rock surface, just use a small brush, low intensity. And so like we could get like a little bit of, if there's a little bit of grass or moss or something growing in here, and You know, if you want it to look like some of the jungle leaves and things are climbing up the hill cliff, you know, just do like a little bit of it, not very much, and then carry it down this way. And then that helps to sell the effect that this grass and stuff is growing up the cliffside, right? So we do a little bit over here, a little bit in here. And just kind of follow the natural contours of the rock to show like, oh, okay, this is, you know, this looks reasonable, like it would have grown up this way. So I'm mostly following like the recesses, and then every once in a while you jump over to an area that's not as recessed and maybe do the effect very strong in there. Let's increase the intensity a little bit. Okay, let's go full strength and see what we get. No, maybe it's already as strong as it's going to get in here. Now there we go. Okay, so see. And that looks really cool. Yes, it does. I think it looks great. And we'll go in here and do this a little bit more. Okay, and then lower it down. Increase the brush size over here for these other little... Well, that was way too much. Way too much. Okay, let's see. Go down to like 10%, I think is what I had it at earlier. And so you just kind of go into here, get the overhang a little bit, kind of come up into here. And then so like this area right here, right, it's mostly flat. This looks like an area where vegetation maybe could have taken hold a little bit. So you can come up in here and paint it a little bit flatter, or a little bit more intense is what I meant to say. Really cover up the rock more. And then if you want to imply that, you know, it's a little bit, there's like looser sediment up here. I don't know why there would be, but you could imply it. And then just paint a little bit of grass. And that helps to look almost like, you know, leaves and moss or something has grown up here. And if you want, the flowers work well too. And you come in here and you add little patches of flowers to give it some color. And these flowers are from the alpine biome. And this grass is from the tropical biome. And I think this rock is tropical. And I think this rock is alpine. I really think that the alpine and the tropical biomes have some of the best paintbrush scenery in the game. They look really nice. Okay, so now we'll come over here and we'll hit this area up a little bit with the moss, and let's see, or with the grass. And let's see, we'll kind of make it climbing up the side here. And moving along the edge of the rock and meeting together right here. And then that will allow us to convincingly paint it moving up this rock just a little bit. Okay, and then we'll increase the intensity but lower the brush size and just get like a couple stronger little pathways in here. And we'll cover up this little lump just a little bit with it. And let's see. And this area right here looks like a good spot to kind of intensify the effect. Because as they come out of the rock, I want them to feel like they're going into a little secluded area where lots of vegetation and stuff is taken hold. I want it to be a little bit overgrown. And that kind of fits in with the overall scenery for this entire area, but then the ride itself, because the whole ride is about a hidden, lush area. So I want to continue that theme up here. The difference being that this would have been naturally grown, and the other area of the ride is, you know, man-made and planned. Okay, so let's see. That's too big. And now all we need up here to make this more convincing, and let's see. Yeah, that's okay. I was thinking about pushing the terrain back a little bit further, but it's okay. We'll keep it how it is. And so that area, that looks really neat, I think. And so what we want to do next is add some foliage and stuff up here to hide this area just a little bit more. And then we want to build the coaster station in here and make this look a little bit nicer, and then maybe get the exit path that just kind of comes out this way. And maybe we'll build the queue that comes through here. We're going to do all that in the next episode. So thank you very much for watching. Tune in for the next one, and have yourself a good afternoon.